Good to see you. How's everything been with you?
Indeed, man. I'm living the dream. Life is better to me than I probably deserve. So yeah, I can't complain, man. Life's good. Life's good.
That's great to hear. You're in Florida, right? What part?
I am, yeah. So I'm born and raised in Florida. I would say Trinity, but most people don't have a clue where that is. So I'm in close to Tampa. I'm about 25 minutes outside of that, Clearwater. So I'm from Jacksonville originally. Went out to school in Tallahassee. Went to Gainesville after that. Lived down in West Palm for a little bit, and then 2003 is when me and my wife moved here, and I actually started my first online business at that time as an advertiser here. So and I've been kind of all over the place around here now since then, and that's when I got in the business as well.
Oh, right on. So your kind of first entry into the whole thing was as a brand, as an owner of a product service. What were you selling?
Yeah, so we're an advertiser, and we used to work with David Pay and Bill Wilson way back in the day, which is some throwback for some of the kind of old school people that'll be watching this. And we did stored value cards. They were a real big hit way back then. So we were an advertiser. We created I want to say 6 different brands for them. Really, where you're just rebranding the card, but we were using their bin at the time, and that's how I got into it. And then it transitioned, obviously, over time to where I am today.
Okay, cool. And you mentioned school in Tallahassee. I see the Florida State flag there behind you. So did you go to FSU?
I went to TCC actually. So I didn't quite have my priorities as well as I do now. But I played, a lot of baseball, basketball in high school, and so I went over there and I was going to play some ball. But you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, I hear that. I had my own struggles with college. Actually, failed out of the first place I went, so took me a little bit to get my head on straight, and ended up at CC, and then went on to a 4-year after that. But
there you go. Yeah,
we all have our own path, right?
Indeed, and I picked several.
So, yeah. Well, cool, man. Well. Look, it's awesome to catch up with you. I know we haven't actually seen each other in person in quite a while. I think we might have ran into each other at one show here for a minute, but it's just been kind of everybody, I think, coming out of the whole pandemic, and kind of everybody's coming out of their shells. So hopefully we'll be catching up real soon at one of the upcoming shows. How's everything been going for you guys? I know Everflow has just been growing like crazy. We have tons of mutual partners. We're going to be doing a lot of co-marketing and things together. You guys are booming, it seems like. How's everything been in your day to day? What's life like at the desk now?
Man, it's great. It's such a transition, and for me, just on how things, like I said, because to touch back on how I got here is where I started off as that advertiser, figured out how networks were running all our campaigns for us, and then I became an email publisher, then a media buyer, became an affiliate manager, and then from that point on, actually went and helped one of my clients start a network. I didn't want to relocate at one point, so I decided to stay here because I'm a Florida boy, as we spoke about, through and through. Yeah. And so then from that point, I helped manage about 3 different networks for give or take a 10, 11-year period. And then I started here at Everflow. October 1st will actually be 4 years for me. So I've been on every side and in between, right? And so this, interestingly enough, because I do not consider myself a sales guy at all, not even close to it. But sometimes I can make a good consultant, apparently. So, they brought me in with that, and it's been a great fit because no matter who I talk to, I'm familiar with their business model, the business structure, all the traffic types. I've got a lot of relationships that I offer them. I have a lot of wins and losses in my career that I could share with them, that they don't have to necessarily take those losses, and they can just kind of focus on the wins that I give some insight on. So, and it's been great here. They brought me in, like I said, 4 years ago. We were very much a startup at the time, and I was give or take employee 14, something like that. Don't hold me completely to it, Jake. It was around 14. We had about 200 clients, and now we're about 900 clients and almost 80 employees. So to say the least, this has been the most successful startup that I've been part of, and it's been an absolute blast. We have 3 very strong co-owners, partners, and they are seasoned as well. They've done this before they started Everflow. which was founded in 2016. 2017, we started licensing the product out, and then I just gave you the background on how fast we've grown.
Yeah.
And it's nuts. It's just to watch not only the industry changes have evolved, but just how, again, 4 years, a lot happens in our industry, right? We pivot very quick, as do our clients. And so we're always learning. And it's busy, but it's a different kind of work than the network grind. You know, I had wrinkles and gray hair when I when I got into the business, and you know, as much as my daughter thinks she's responsible for it, she's not. It's the industry and just life, right? But it's been a blessing, man. It's been a blast. It's a different kind of work. So business is so good, and we're pivoting constantly, which I'm sure we'll touch on some of that as we continue to talk. But it's been great, man. Very good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and you touched on there were a couple things I think that you said in there that really kind of struck chords with me. You know, how kind of taxing and sometimes difficult this world we work in can kind of be, the hours and the kind of always on type of aspects to it. But you know,
always on.
Oh yeah, always. And you know, especially in the sales and client services side, it's like, you know, if you don't pick up the phone, somebody else is gonna, right? So you got to be there.
That's one of my mottos, man. I tell somebody as well, if you don't do your job, somebody else is happy to do it for you.
Somebody else will gladly slide right in there and do that for you.
Yeah.
But there was, you mentioned, you know, just kind of the way that Everflow has been scaling. And you know, I see it. I mean, we sign on more mutual clients pretty much all the time. You know, it seems like there's 5 coming in a month, you know, anymore. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, you've been on the inside since, you know, you guys were at 20, now you're at 80. What's that been like? Have you, especially through 2 years of you know, seclusion and pandemic times and stuff, like what type of challenges have you guys faced in recruiting, hiring, keeping that sort of culture as you scale and in this very, very remote kind of line of work that we're in? Presents positives and challenges, I'm sure, right? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, boy, did you touch on an interesting point with that one too. So yeah, with the growth, it was it was easy at one point. I feel, because number one, we had the right culture. We're very big on culture, huge on culture. You know, I had done 3 interviews, and Kurt, the one that hired me, didn't even really talk about business. Just want to know about me as a person. You know, and so that's what we've done. And boy, are we diverse. We've got some real characters. I'm sure they say the same about me, in a good way though, you know, but what I think is different about us is that we don't, more times than not, especially depending on the roles. I've seen in my years, too many companies try to bring in people as little as they could pay them, and then just turn them into robots, right? You know, just do as you're told. Instead, we bring in people who are 10+ year vets, right? And they are all going to have their own strengths, right? We all have our weaknesses, but we all have our own strengths. And so we come in, we bring them in, and we expect, but we demand that they have a voice. We want them, because everybody has something to offer, everybody. And you just got to make them feel comfortable that they can share that. Sure. But everybody has wins and losses. Share them with us, you know, that way we can do it. So we'll pay more and bring in experienced people. And that's why we've grown so fast, I believe, because everybody brings in and we start sharing our losses. That way we don't have to make those mistakes. Just like the old adage where people say, I learn more from a bad boss than you do a good boss, right? Because now that's less mistakes that I have to make, because I've seen this person make them. And so I don't have to do that myself. You know, some people say I have to learn the hard way. I don't believe in that at all. You know, I do not. If you see something repetitively that does not work, you know,
maybe you avoid it.
No. Yeah. But our culture is phenomenal. Everybody's got a voice, diversity, you know, and just everybody, you know, we want them to take a certain amount of time off, you know, have a life outside of here. It keeps them refreshed. And one of the things too is that, you know, as you had mentioned too, especially during the pandemic, it's very tricky. Communication. So we upped a lot of our meetings, and that we would have. We require it be video as well too. We want to see faces, because faces matter, right? Just like we always say, you got to put a name to a face. And so we do that. And then also we would have 2 company offsites as well per year. So every 6 months we would bring the entire company, which is global, to a specific location, and we would spend about 4 days together. That way we can get the time in. You know, me on the sales side, you know, and CS, and you've got accounting, and you've got devs, which are all out of Montreal and out of Canada and things. And so we've got just people everywhere. And it's important that you get that personal time in too, you know, whether it's out, you know, racing side by sides and four wheelers or wrecking them as I've done, to just games and, you know what I mean? And meals, man, we eat very well here for sure. The company takes care of us there. So we just do a lot of cool projects, do a lot of team things. And for instance, tomorrow, I believe we've even got a trivia thing where we're splitting up the whole company, into different teams, and we're doing trivias and we do coffee breaks, and we just do a lot of stuff where we get everybody involved, so everybody gets to constantly hear and see and communicate. We use Slack. We have different channels for everybody and certain segments for different things too. So cohesiveness is important. And then when it comes to hiring, that's almost a soft spot, really, because it's been interesting. During the pandemic, it was relatively easy to find that talent. And since then, man, it's been hard. It's really, really hard, because I think it's also tailored to how we choose to do business, where for us, we'll have a lot of top level guys come in and apply, and they sell at monster companies. But we're in a very unique situation where you cannot teach affiliate marketing. You're not going to read a book, watch a video. You've got to be thrown to the wolves and cook in the fires, right? And that's why, for me, I'll always take somebody in affiliate marketing. I will always take somebody who's got the experience over somebody who's got the education, right? And I know that's kind of odd to say per se, but in our business, it just is. We see the success that people have, where we train them and teach them, and there's just a longer progression, right? Justifiably too, because there's just so many things. Just like you can see the same terms and the same verbiage, you can have the same conversation with 10 people and use different lingo for every one. So context matters, and that's hard to teach. So it's just been tricky, and we always have more success with industry related people.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we're very along those same lines. And a lot of what you just said really resonates, because we, as a company, we do a lot of the same things as far as just trying to, keep consistency with the culture, and just open and very, a full open door policy, very transparent. We all talk a lot. We all get on Zoom calls a lot, and just try to stay close, even though we're not really close. We're all spread out all over the place. Again, one of those positives and sometimes challenges that comes with kind of what we do.
Agreed.
It's another point that you made about hiring in general, that I really love is that you mentioned that you really look more for experience rather than education, and I think that's awesome, and I think that's a real kind of paradigm shift that we're seeing in a lot of ways. I mean, even in education now, they're saying, a lot of schools are starting to loosen restrictions around the degrees that people have to come in and teach and things like that. I just think expanding the way that, we're not so kind of dogmatic in that, you must have this business degree and you must have this, and that real life experience. I've found, and I think personally, the thing that's helped me the most as a sales and CS side person has been that I spent 15 years in food and beverage, and that type of just dealing with the one commodity that walks, talks, and thinks all the time, and just understanding how to relate to people even on their worst days, is just really invaluable. Yeah. I mean, it's just something that you can't teach, just like the material of what affiliate marketing is and that type of thing. It takes a special breed, I think, to work especially in all the different roles you've had. This is the only thing I've ever done in this space. So,
right.
13 years, but all the different angles that you've worked in this world is really impressive, and I'm sure it just brings so much to how you're able to do your job at Everflow so effectively.
Yeah, I would like to think so, and that I do get a lot of that feedback. It helps me with the team because I get to help mentor, and anybody that wants to listen, I am happy to talk all darn day. So it's kind of a curse and a blessing as well. But like I said, I've been fortunate to be in the space, in the same industry for so long. And so I've seen and heard a lot. So I love to share that with anybody that wants it, as well. And then when it comes to, our prospects, our clients, again, I'm fortunate to be able to bring a lot of value because you talk to a lot of very experienced people. And so relatability, like you said, I'm very much on the same page with them. And then you talk to a lot of people that are just green, new, and sometimes a prospect come in like, hey, I got a product. I'm going to start right out with trials, and I'm going to talk to this network over here. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be a very short-lived business. I promise you that's not the path that you want to go. And then I'll start sharing some reasons and the exact conversations. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to say this, they're going to say that, but here's what's going to happen. And then here's how you got to watch your mids and these other challenges that are going to arise. Here's what you need to do. And sometimes I'll even pull up my LinkedIn, prior. But I hope I bring value to them, because sometimes they'll come back like a month later and be like, wow, it was the weirdest thing ever. It was like literally you scripted the call, and that's exactly how it went. It's like, well, I've just done it a million times. And so hopefully I bring a lot of value and experience to people. And it's easy to do, just good, honest business, man. Just be honest. Like I said, for me, I'm not a sales guy. I'm just old Southern boy. I just been around the block. And so for me, I should have a referral partnership set up with like reversion and stuff, because I can't tell you how many people that I'm like, you don't need what we provide. We're just too much. You just don't need it, and there's different levels and there's different platforms that can meet their needs in the business. And so just do them right. And as you know, that people move a lot place to place in this industry. And so you never burn a bridge, do good, honest business. And then in the space, I mean, have the thousands of people that I've been thankful to meet and learn from, because they're the reason why I know what I know. Is everybody else. I don't teach myself, they taught me. And so with it comes where you can just, you're honest, you take care of them. And then either sometime down the road, because affiliates know affiliates, advertisers know advertisers. And so when they're in conversation and somebody's like, yeah, I'm thinking about an affiliate program, I need some tracking or something. And they're like, I got a guy for you. He's so honest. He sent me to a competitor, and so that's value and trust, and they know it. And so that means something. And then they're sending me business, even though I never got to work with them because of that time. Or if they end up changing businesses, now they're at a company that's going to start one, or is on a, maybe a competitor's platform that they're not quite satisfied with. And so now I'm back in the picture. So just do good business. It's very easy to do. Some people struggle with it.
Some people do. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think it's that easy for a lot of people. But I share a lot of the same kind of philosophical, ways about doing business as well. And it's refreshing to talk to people. And I think some of that does come with our age a little bit, right? You spend 10, 15 years in doing this. And like you say, you learn from your mistakes. You learn from watching what other people do and maybe don't do well, and how it can impact business in a negative way, both for yourself as well as your customers. And really, when it all boils down, I think, that's all we're here for, right? Is to make sure we're taking care of our customers. And
exactly.
The kind of the point you made there about just being more of a consultant rather than feeling like you're a sales guy. It's real easy for us to sit here and say, well, we're charged with bringing in revenue, or we're charged with hitting quotas, or whatever the case might be. It's real easy, I think, to sometimes pigeonhole yourself into thinking you're a sales guy, but keeping your mind outside of that box, and looking at it in a more kind of pragmatic way, and a more consultative way, I think does very much feed the ability to do good business and to build rapport and build trust and shoot people straight, even when it might nip you in the pocket a little bit,
It'll come back. And like you said, too many people goals. Sometimes I fear that word, and we don't have a competitive culture here, right? Because I will not, I'm the director of sales here, and I won't have it where people are hiding wins and losses from their team. If I help you, you're going to help me. And so help us grow together, because when the company wins, we win individually, right? If engineering doesn't make a great product, sales has nothing to sell. If sales has nothing to sell, support has nothing to support, no clients, right? If they don't support people, we don't need accounting who invoices. It's a cycle, and literally everybody has to do their job. And so sometimes when it comes to goals, people get so focused on that, they lose sight of the process. And the process will always work if you stick to it, right? It works, it doesn't. Stay the course, and it will happen, and it'll come to fruition. It just does, unless you've got bad practices in place. But I think we're doing pretty well. So.
Yeah, well, I know you are, and I know a bunch of your team, bunch of your sales reps talk to you guys all the time, and it's very easy to tell that you guys have built a winning culture and are doing things right over there. Talk to me about we're both lead sales teams. Talk to me about how do you go about celebrating those wins or recognizing losses, and finding those ways to learn and really kind of peel back the layers. And I think sometimes it's kind of, a loss can sting, right? And we don't always want to sit there and ruminate on it. We want to go on and look for the next win, but there's obviously lessons to be learned. So maybe can you talk a little bit about kind of how you do celebrate those wins and how you go about looking into those losses and trying to find out kind of what really did go wrong?
Yeah. So really it's, public recognition. You just make sure that people get the credit that's due, right, to them. And you make sure, obviously we're well compensated on commission, our structure and how we take care of that as well. And we do a lot of promotion with them, We are very much always looking to, just like our whole process from our SDRs to sales next and things like that. We want to reward people for doing good things, and we publicly acknowledge them for sure. And I've been blessed to move up very quickly here, but again, the people around me. That's why I've had so much success for sure, not just me by any means. And so, yeah, you acknowledge them. When it comes to losses, you make sure that they share it, and there's no shame in it at all, right? Yep. And when you share a loss with somebody, you earn their respect, right? Because now you're like, wow, that person is very humbled, and they are sharing this with me and helping me be better at what I do, so I don't have to make this mistake, or excuse me, or if it's just a learning process. And usually that's what it is. Sometimes you can always do right and still not succeed. It just is what it is. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, right? There's also that aspect, and timing, sales, timing matters. You can follow up with somebody for a year. They don't even respond, and they're seeing your emails, and you test subject lines and the email itself. And then one day all of a sudden they respond, great timing. It's like, great timing. Yeah. It's been 13 months.
Persistence pays. Yep.
There you go. So, so it's about that. It's just, again, honesty, having the culture to where people, it's okay to not win. It's out of your control a lot of times too, especially in this industry, right? Yeah. A lot of things are out of your control. So it's just communication, respecting your fellow man, woman, and just, making sure that you're helping them and they'll help you back, and that's the main thing. It's just give, and people will give back,
Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah. And it's almost like sitting here talking to a version of myself here, and it's just refreshing because it's no wonder that we're both in these positions with companies that are established and good reputations and great products and great teams and it's just so cool to be a part of it, that be able to talk to other people who are fortunate as well, and kind of put ourselves in these good positions. It's fun.
Yeah, like-minded people click and usually get together frequently and gel. There's a lot to learn even from other companies, right? So a lot of times, unless you have that open community, relationships.
Yeah,
that's what we're in. That's what affiliate marketing. That's what this industry is built on, is relationships.
Relationship
100%.
business. Yeah, you made a good point. Not burning bridges. It's a very small community. Everything comes back around, whether it's good or bad. So
exactly that. That's why you do good business, because if you don't, sometimes people are their own worst enemy and they don't even know it, right? They lack that self-awareness, and they're like, I'm always having these issues. And it's like, okay, you've been at 5 companies and you're having the same problem.
Yeah.
Odds are every company, that's not their fault. Maybe you're taking those problems with you, So you got to have some self-awareness, and you got to be humble enough to ask for help, ask for feedback, from somebody that seems trusted and that other people respect, and see what they share with them. But you've got to be able to take criticism too, right? So.
Yeah, I think the humility aspect is something that I think a lot of people, myself included, struggle with sometimes.
Every day. We got to work on it.
It's as long as I think as long as we remain aware of it and the need for it, and can kind of look in the mirror sometimes and, just admit nobody's freaking perfect, and, we're going to have losses and we're going to make mistakes, but you learn from it. You just don't repeat it. And then you just,
there you go.
You just keep going.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So with the business, what do you guys, what's the rest of 22 looking like? What's 23 looking like? Do you guys have new products in the queue that you can talk about? Do you have, what's the next evolution here looking like for Everflow?
Yeah. So, I don't think there are too much secrets per se, but we have a very pliable platform. So we're able to serve a lot of different types of clients. One of the things that we found recently that we found success in ourselves, but didn't really acknowledge or know for whatever reason, some of the pain points that some of our clients had internally, because a lot of people think, well, you're a tracking platform for affiliate programs. We are much, much more than that. And we've been using our own platform for media buys as well. And so, we've got native integrations, Facebook, TikTok, especially Google. Google is one of the biggest sources of traffic, as people know. And so what we're finding is that, there's a lot of attribution missing. And, Google will tell you a lot with a lot of platforms on, what's sending traffic your way, but they don't always tell you the value of those keywords and those leads and things. And so something that we're focusing on and already having success with quickly is, on the B2B side for partnership programs, right? There's a big difference between an affiliate program and a partnership program. Yep. Big difference, and for those that might not know, because affiliate's a word that they've been trying to make a dirty word for a long time. And it rubs me wrong. It'll always be affiliates to me. But affiliate, is the usual marketers out there. Partner programs are usually other businesses that are affiliates for you, but they're referred to as partners more frequently. And so we're working on that to where with our system, they can actually see the value of the keywords, because they'll find out, hey, these keywords are driving us a lot of traffic. They're not turning us any leads, or they're turning us leads, but not any actual sales. Yeah. Traffic doesn't matter. Leads don't matter. Sales and revenue is what matters at the end of the day. And so our system can actually pass that data back, and then they can optimize their campaigns with that. That's something that we've been doing ourselves in-house. Some of the keywords that you would think fit are some of the keywords that wasted us the most money, So that's what we're focusing on. Is we've got different personas for our dashboard based on what the clients do. That way we can remove the noise from them, because you've got e-com clients, you've got lead gen clients, you've got networks, you've got agencies, then you got the B2B, and that's a whole nother beast in itself. And so we're just dialing in the platform for different types of clients and the features that they need. And media buying is definitely a very, very big one out there. And sometimes the simplicity of the platform can be what sells too, because you can lose clients because it's too robust, right? Yeah. So
how have you found just as a team, and a little bit of a tangent here, but how have you found as a team that for your own purposes as a B2B company, how are things like TikTok working for you guys? Are you seeing returns? Is it more just kind of about awareness for you? Like what in your eye was the expectation maybe going into a channel like that as a B2B? Mm-hmm. And what are you guys seeing out of it?
So TikTok hasn't been one for us, but Google, absolute monster for us, for sure. And then interestingly enough, and we just had our Everflow Connect just a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. And one of the main topics of our own show, if you will, or event that we put on, where we invite a lot of prospects, a lot of clients, the whole company goes, and it was out of Canada. And we bring a lot of just industry vets too, right? We want to bring value just in general to it. And so one of the main things that we found is that partnership programs, just doing business with other ones, where we work with HubSpot, and all these other larger companies that have all these relationships that are a fit for us. We have very much a lot of crossover. A lot of our clients use HubSpot, Salesforce, and things like that, vice versa. And so those partnerships, because you'll find that kind of like a referral program, right? If you meet somebody at a show and you had, it was an okay meeting, all right. But then later on, and maybe things didn't go as smooth or whatnot, but then maybe I come back and say, hey, Jake, meet so-and-so. I've known them a while. Good people, good business, good client of ours too. You're automatically going to get rid of all that of like, well, it's kind of weird when I met them the first time, but I know Ross and he's been solid. So if he says he's good with me. And so there's value in that. And so referrals and partnerships, back to the relationships that we were talking about earlier, they matter, and it adds value. And that we find that our referrals from other clients, from other prospects, and from other partners, other businesses as well too, that we have relationships with, they sign at a much higher rate, and they end up being the longest, best valued clients possible too. So for us specifically on TikTok, not a big one. Our clients monstrous, but for us are in what we do, we found that Google and then partnerships is where our sweet spots are.
Awesome. Yeah. I think we tend to see the same, and social has been kind of a bit of an enigma to us. Like we just haven't waded down it. We really haven't gone too far down that road. And I think for B2Bs, it does prove challenging to really find a message, find your audience, especially with kind of the age range, I think that are most prevalent on those platforms,
It's very fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to watch how that whole space kind of, I guess, just evolves. It's still so new, right? What TikTok didn't exist, 3 years ago or something like that.
And it's a monster. It's an absolute monster now. Like a lot of people are saying that that's the new Facebook, right? And how finicky is Facebook? Because people are on there for different purposes, right? Think about election time. Oh, people are either not getting on Facebook because of just what it becomes and
inundated with it. Yeah.
Or people are going on there just to fight, just to battle it out with other people. They're not on there just to browse and enjoy. A lot of people, I mean, I think everybody could admit, like, they see people saying, I'll be back in 60 days. Like, I'm taking time off, like, because there's nothing of value. And you have to search through your feed forever to find somebody talking about their kids for a change.
Friend. Yeah. Friends' lives. Yeah.
So it's finicky to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you on social at all yourself?
I still help manage some Facebook groups. We got shady affiliate groups out there, deadbeat advertisers. I do a little bit, I would say, admittedly, since the last election, I might check Facebook every couple of days, and now when I do, I bet you 95% of what I'm doing on Facebook is work. It's just for the work groups that I'm in. To make sure people aren't tagging me for something, to assist somebody, and whatnot. But I've dialed it back quite a bit, and it's been nice. But I find Instagram fun, because those are the channels where I can get away from work and I can get in there, and it's a very different atmosphere, if you will, in there, 100%. Different experience.
Yeah. I'm very similar again. I actually closed my Facebook, deleted it like 3 years ago. And have not looked back. I leave the Facebook work aspects to old Tom Wozniak, and let him deal with all that madness on there. And but yeah, Instagram, love Instagram. Don't do Twitter, don't do TikTok, just Insta. Yeah.
I don't have TikTok either, interestingly enough, but it's just one of those things that goes back to the whole thing where we're talking about some people would rather be right than happy. I've learned in the last couple of years, I'd rather be happy than right sometimes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's just me.
Yeah, no, I think that comes with our I'm not going to say our advance, but just growing up a little bit. You start to prioritize things that,
exactly. That's what
maybe weren't always like top of mind when you were younger,
Yeah. Sometimes I was like, man, I care more about what people think about me than how I'm living and what I think about myself and those around me who really matter. So, yeah. Yep.
So when kind of shift gears a little bit with your customers and your advertisers and whatnot that you guys work with, I understand obviously you support networks too, but focus on the brands for a sec. Are you seeing any kind of new trends among the way that they are exploring channels? We're obviously seeing a lot more SMS these days. I think a lot of folks are maybe still a little wary of the space just because of the lack of regulation around a lot of it, or maybe some of the association with call and how some of, from the legal perspective, it's being kind of, lumped under TCPA and, some of the real strict and heavy fines that can come with those types of things. Are you seeing more people go towards SMS? Or is it really just heavy social? And, is email still, a big chunk of things that you see?
Well, Jake, that's a can right there. Let's open it. So with it, you're right on everything. And this industry is just so cyclical, right? It's kind of like mom jeans, right? They come, they go, and then they're back, and you're like, when did that happen? And you don't know. And then you never notice a car until you buy one. All of a sudden, every other car you see on the road is that. It's like, when did everybody get the same thing?
Right.
And so with it, no, email, man. People's like, oh, email's dead. Stop. Affiliate marketing is dead. Stop. Let's quit. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger. Yeah. It's just part of it, and it's still strong. SMS is an interesting one because boy, is it regulated, right? And it's only going to get more regulated as well too. And yeah, what you don't want is getting those emails, or the letters, right, from certain agencies. Where SMS is monstrous, though, monstrous. It's absolutely huge, and so it's a numbers game a lot of times, high volume. So as long as it's done right, there's a lot of value and a lot of money to be made in it. And so, yeah, I think it's going to continue to grow. Again, it's just got to be right. You got to make sure the verbiage is right, and that's one of the biggest things, the privacy policies, T's and C's, you got to make sure. And then the people that you work with, where are you getting the data from if it's not your own, right? And then the platforms for compliance and things like that. So a lot to be made, but you've certainly got to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure you're doing it the right way, for sure. Otherwise, it'll haunt you.
Yeah. Any certain verticals that you think that channel tends to, kind of support better or work a little bit better for?
I would have to say, and again, this is just hearsay for me because 4 years I haven't done the marketing on my own. But yeah, lead gen is a very big one, and in certain e-com, Nutra, Nutra will never die. Right. Even though the problems that it has, it'll never die. So those would probably be the ones. Sweeps, interestingly enough, can do that as well. But social is still that. I still think that's the sweet spot in the end. It's just expensive, and you've got to know what you're doing. And it's important to have a platform that can show you the data of what's really going on after the initial touch. Right. Because that's not what matters. You got it. And we've got that ability to track these, all the way down to keywords and find out what keywords are not driving you traffic, like we touched on, which ones are actually driving you leads. Okay, that's great too. But still, which ones are turning revenue, and then which ones are turning recurring revenue. And then how are you monetizing that user afterwards too? And so the right system can show you that data to show you, as one of my sales guys taught me, drainers and gainers. Where the sweet spots are. You can find out which landing pages and which pages in your process are breaking, which traffic sources, what geos, all the way down to certain device IDs, or not device IDs, but device types. These things matter, and you'll start to see if you've got the right data and you're willing to look for it, you'll find out the sweet spots, and it changes, per product, per service, days and times, the economy. We went from a absolutely booming COVID period to immediately a recession. Just there was no in between of it just and so as you see some businesses just blew up. The majority of our clients blew up during Corona, and then you see they go in the opposite direction afterwards. And the ones that struggled during the Corona or didn't exist now all of a sudden pop up in the recession. So if they're in the finance, subprime, things like that, mental health, a lot of health, type services and things like that, and teledoc stuff. It's just the shift, man. It's interesting to see, to say the least, what it is, and you just got to learn to pivot quickly.
Yeah. No, that's all tremendous points and good insight, man. That definitely makes sense. Very interesting stuff. Yeah. You just see such a different side of all this than I do, and the types of data that you guys are exposed to, and all the different types of both the affiliate side and the customer side, and the affiliate managers, networks, and agencies. We're very at Optizmo very squarely in the email, niche. So it's always great to just hear, from other industry vets, kind of what they see in these different spots and things like that.
If you remember, we went from back in the day, we went from like stored value cards to acai berries, right, to ringtones, and then we got into the Nutra, and then payday, which is always kind of come and gone. It could be seasonal too. You go to payday, and then kind of Nutra still lingering around, and then next thing you know, you got NFTs, right?
Right.
So it's all over the place, man. It's entertaining, if nothing else, to see. I can't wait to see what's next, and I couldn't even tell you if you asked, because I'm trying to make it through today, right? Who knows what tomorrow is going to bring, man.
Yeah. And I dude, I hear you. And I am innately kind of a planner. I like having a road in front of me.
Me too.
And it is sometimes difficult. It keeps us on our toes though, right? Like,
yeah,
trying to kind of forecast what comes next and these new trends. And, but I guess if we could all do that, we'd all be retired sitting on beaches. So.
I was just about to say that same thing, man. If I could see into the future, and all I see is a U-turn frequently. So we'll see.
That's a funny analogy. So what are you most looking forward to yourself personally? What do you got coming up in the next year? Anything that's kind of on your own horizons? You got any fun family plans? Anything cooking?
Yeah, so I've tried to shift gears as we talked about, man, especially in the network space. It's just a grind, right? If you're not a 9 to 5er, which is okay. Just some people, it's just how we're wired, innately. Plus I've just kind of brought up by a family and a dad who's just old school, never the smartest dude in the room, but ain't nobody gonna outwork us, right? And we just grind. And so and we learn. And so I have taken off more time this year than I ever have in my life, and it's been phenomenal. It's
Good.
hard because even on vacation, I'm still checking my phone, you know what I mean, and doing my
That's what
stuff.
we do. That's what we do. Yeah.
I feel weird, right, when I can't. And so this year, the company's been fantastic. We have unlimited time off here, and we encourage people, and even some people that wouldn't take enough time off, the boss is like, okay, we're going to turn off your Slack. We're going to turn off your email. If you don't schedule it and do it yourself, we're just going to turn your stuff off and you're going to have nothing else to do. Right. So they've been really good with me of like, please take off more time, and several other employees too, where we're just workaholics. We work 6 plus, 7 days a week, and we work, 7, 8 in the morning till 10, 11 at night, sometimes. And it's just, it just never stops. And so they forced me to take time off. And this year I've been blessed to do some really cool trips. I went out and did Sturgis with my 2 brothers and my dad, which has been a bucket list item for us to do. And, this year he's going to be 75. And so, we're a very tight family. And so we got to do that together. And that was 10 days of just bliss, man, riding out there, motorcycles. That's what I'm into, motorcycles, sports. I'm a junkie, so I got a few motorcycles, and we just went out there and rode, and, to just come across a mountain for a Florida guy, right? Where it's flat and green, you're dodging bears and gators. And so then you go and you ride out there and you just come across a hill or a mountain, and, there's, Mount Rushmore, right? And go through another one, and there's Devil's Tower, and it's just, you got bison and antelope on the one side, and you got plateaus on the other, and it's just amazing, And then I did another bucket list item this year. I went to Las Vegas, did UFC International Fight Week. That was something I've been wanting to do. I did that with some of my family and some of my best friends. And that was a blast. And I'm going to Denver to do some elk hunting with my dad again, coming up here next month. Just a lot of family time, fortunate to be where we are, and just, take off more time, and it feels nice, man. It's nice. Before I would take off a Friday. And so I was like, woo, I had a 3-day work weekend, and that was, a weekend, and that was great. Now I'm actually doing like a week, and I've got the team around me that supports it. It's just like, hey, put me on your autoresponder and you check out, man. And we take care of each other. And so it's just been phenomenal. So that's what I'm focusing on, getting a little bit more time in this year. And I'm going to try and continue that moving forward next year and just refresh, man. It's so important for people to do.
Yeah. And I think, it's been kind of still an overarching kind of theme to our chat here, is just the influences of the 2 years of, kind of pandemic, of the height of pandemic times. And I think that it really did thankfully bring about, kind of a sea change in in just the, the perception of working until you're, just dead being the way that it has to be, right? And bringing more of that, just that self-care and, family time and downtime and actually disconnecting, not just going to the beach and still checking or wherever you like to go and looking at your phone every 10 minutes because you're worried about missing something. I think it's really grown up, in my opinion, a very welcome kind of, refreshing type of view by owners and business, owners of companies and bosses and stuff that, like, hey, we're people, like we need those resets, or we're just not productive. We're just not, as attentive when we're there. And if you really want, I think, the best out of your team and out of your employees and out of your, out of the culture, you got to be able to separate once in a while and allow people that space and that kind of mental reset that we all need time to time. That's super.
Sometimes you got to protect people from themselves, and I know I was one, because I started working even more during Corona, right? I had nothing else to do besides just work.
Yeah.
So I just worked even more. And then, wife's like, man, you need to take some time off. And I'm like, but there's a lot to do. It's like, it'll be there when you get back and you've got a good team. They'll do it for you while you're gone. And
Yep.
okay. All right. You're right. And then come back and I'm doing emails twice as fast. So I'm refreshed. So yeah, man, you gotta, everybody, you need to have a life.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Well, cool, man. Well, yeah, I think we could probably, I don't know, get to wrapping up here. We've been chatting for a while. This will all get edited down, of course. I want to do just a real quick little kind of lightning round with you. I like to finish.
Oh boy.
Like just a couple, we'll do like 4 or 5 quick questions.
Okay. I'll try not to lie. Let's go.
All right. Favorite band?
Gee. That's a
Tough. I know.
I can't do it. I will tell you this though. I am an 80s and 90s junkie.
Sure.
There's good music out now, I'm sure. But see, all I listen to is talk radio and sports stuff. So for me, 80s and 90s, I don't care if it's hip hop, I don't care if it's rock. I'm just an 80s, 90s baby, man. I think that was some of the best times, So I couldn't give you a best band, but if I had to, I'd have to give you the old schools, right? The old Motley Crue, AC/DC, Metallica,
Oh yeah.
kind of those guys. I love the old school stuff.
Still listen to Metallica just about every day. So
I saw them in concert, them and AC/DC, and those were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Some of the best concerts I've ever been to, hands down.
I remember when the Black Album came out, I wanted to go, and I was 15, I think, or something like that. And I was not allowed to go to that concert.
Sounds like my parents.
I got a very stern warning that if it was found out that I went, that I would not be happy with the aftermath.
And now my kid's like, oh, she's literally commandeering my AC/DC and Metallica and shirts from me. And she's like, oh yeah, I love this classic stuff, Dad. I'm like, yeah, you watch it, man. You watch it. But yeah, we're old, bro. We are old.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, I'm 43. I will 44 next week. What? You're right about my age, aren't you?
October 13th, I'll be 46.
46. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. You're 2 weeks after me. Yeah. It is kind of funny how, this stuff that we grew up on is now classic rock.
That drives me nuts. But hey, such is life. I'm happy to even have made it this far. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I made it this long. So I'll take it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Definitely could look back and say, wow, what the hell was I doing and how am I still here?
Yeah, man.
Give me your favorite movie character. What character has resonated with you?
That's an easy one. Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber.
Man.
Fantastic answer.
Yeah, that's my dude.
One of those movies that just never ever gets old.
Keeps on giving. It's great.
Give me the best meal that you've ever had.
The best meal actually goes back to what we were just talking about as well for when I went to Vegas. So we went to a place called Ekpot, and it was the most amazing meal ever. And we were eating different variations of Wagyu, and it was raw. Oh, goodness sake. It came in itty bitty cubes, and you pull it up on this cart, and you're just like, really? I paid a couple $100 for this. Yeah. And then you put one on your tongue and you don't even chew it. It just dissolves. It's like cotton candy. And
you get a little teary just thinking about it.
It was absolutely incredible. It was, because I'm a crab leg and a lobster dude. And that was it, man. That was it. All right. That was a X-Pot. Yeah, X-Pot.
X-Pot. All right.
X-Pot.
For everybody, anybody watching this, going to Vegas next, make sure you hit up X-Pot. And that's going to go on our list too. Tom, Chris, if you guys are listening, we're going to hit that. What's your, I think we all we have that, hopefully, there's something that, when you open your eyes in the morning, gets you out of bed, gets you excited, gets you moving. And for a lot of us, it ties back to our work and what we do day to day. What's your motivation? What's the thing that keeps you cranking and keeps you working those 10-hour days? And what's that look like for you?
it's almost for me, I guess at this point, 19 years into this, I'm kind of on autopilot, but I love it because I learn a lot about myself every day because of all the people, because of my job, because my job is to talk to people, right? Everybody's got a problem or they need something, and that's why they're coming in the first place. And so I'm already in a very nice position, right? And so in these conversations, like with you, we're to talk shop, but we still get personal at the same time. And so I learn even more about you, right? Now I got even more respect for you. We find out we have even more in common than we thought. And so you find that you have a lot in common with almost everybody. You just got to give them the time to talk. And then, one of the things that I have learned, and I'm always trying to be a better person. I think most people should focus on that, but people taught me grace. They've taught me grace. And because everybody has a life. Everybody's got a family, hopefully, right? They got friends, and you just don't know what people are dealing with. Just give people grace, man. And that's what they've taught me since doing this job in general, because we make our calls mandatory video. You want to see that face. And just talking to them, man. And some people they touch you, right? And they're not even trying. They're just being honest and raw. If you can disarm, my motto is disarm and then engage, right? And, get to know them first. I don't want to talk shop until I've gotten to know you a little bit, right? And that's just me. That's just what I do. And people have taught me a lot about them. And then in turn, it's a lot of life lessons that you can take from that. And so grace, in the last few years, a lot of people have lost a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And so sometimes your schedules might not link up. It's because life's more important than our jobs in the end, right? We do our jobs to support our families and a life, but without the life, we don't have need for a job, So it's just a lot of people go through things. Just be patient, be open-minded and just give them grace and just be a good person, man. Life's tough enough, don't make it any harder. It needs to be.
Yeah, no, hey man, that is phenomenal phenomenal answer. I have to share some of that sentiment as far as grace. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know, it could be the worst day of their lives when you come into contact. And I think if we were all able to just kind of operate more under that type of kind of mode and in our day-to-day, just be a better place. And the common threads that we all do share when you just sit down and just give somebody an opportunity to talk. You put that so perfectly. I think it's something that I personally am working towards and trying to get better every day at. I can only hope that everybody else is doing the same. So that's, I think, a great goal for us all.
Life comes at you fast, so
that it does. And before you know it, you're celebrating your 44th and 46th birthdays. And,
yeah. You nailed that one.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, Ross, look, it's been so great talking to you. Great to see you. I'm gonna let you get about the rest of your day here and get back to working hard for Everflow.
My grind and my classic rock.
Yep. Get back to blasting some AC/DC.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Jake.
Absolutely, man. Always a pleasure. We'll see you real soon. And you should take care of yourself and keep on crushing over there.
Too, my friend. I appreciate you, Jake.
Cool. Thanks, buddy.